everyone, to episode 10 of the Circle Back podcast, the show where two great friends get together and talk about video games. I'm Dan LaMarca, and as always, I'm joined by Dan Dufrenoy.
Hello.
And we're going to kick it off like we always do. Dan, what have you been playing?
I've been playing, continuation of last week, I've been playing some more Dishonored on the PS Now.
Still loving it?
Starting to have some issues with the PS Now, where you're playing and then the connection isn't so good, so you're in the middle of this really intense part, and then it says the streaming isn't so good, so it's going to close in 20 seconds, and you're like, oh wait, let me just kill this guy before
that service has its issues for sure.
I'm actually really loving it. I'm enjoying it more.
Dishonored or PS Now?
Dishonored.
Yeah.
And I've only played Black Flag, and I don't want to crap on Assassin's Creed, but to me, this is the best Assassin's game. It does such a good job of you got to be you could either be really stealthy, or, you can go in guns a-blazing, but I'm in this one area where I'm starting to get to the places where now the first level you're just in this self-contained prison. It's very Arkham Asylum-y, you only have one route to go. Pretty much. Now you get to where you're going into the towns, and you can go into tunnels. You can go ahead, or you can just
go right through the front door.
You have so many avenues to get to your destination, and it's so much fun. It sucks when you get caught. I'm trying to do a stealth run, or not trying to kill anybody. So whenever I get caught, I reload the file. I'm like, crap, I don't want to kill anybody. So I reload.
A lot of quick saving.
But I like how you get a little bit farther and farther, and each time you get farther, you look at different routes, and then by the end, it's kind of like a roguelike system for me at least. Where okay, I finally got to where I know I need to go. I know all the pathways. Now here's my way to be super sneaky stealthy about it. And I can kind of just weave my way. And
I play the game in a very similar way. I try my best to never kill anybody. I'll reload.
Yeah.
The game's great for that because it totally allows you to do a ton of different things. Definitely comes from that Deus Ex lineage. But yeah, Dishonored is an excellent game.
And it's the same people that did Prey too, which is so cool. I think, they just...
It's a different Arcane,
right?
But it's the same guys, and you can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of a lot of that same idea of coming at things from different angles.
Yeah.
Playing attacking or just being more strategic about it. If Prey had a little less enemies, maybe a little bit more then maybe we'd like a little more.
Definitely.
But,
how about you, brother? What have you been playing?
I've been playing this game that's new to me. I think it came out in early access in November.
Okay.
Still in early access. It's called Slay the Spire. It's by a studio called Megacrit Games. They've never made anything before. I think they're a newly formed studio. This game's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I am hooked.
I haven't even heard of it. So
I'm hooked hard on this game.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm going to talk a lot about it right now because there's a lot of stuff to get into with it, but it's a deck building game that's also a roguelike. So the whole object of the game is you want to climb to the top of the spire, killing everything along the way, right? So it's a total roguelike setup where if anyone's played FTL or any similar roguelite games, they call them roguelite, it means you have a couple, it's like a map literally where there's segments little nodes climbing up, and there's different paths, So it'll show an enemy icon, or a treasure icon, or a shopkeeper icon, and you can look at the whole track and be like, all right, I want to go on this path because I have to fight 2 enemies, then I get a bonfire where I can heal some of my health.
Okay.
Then I get a shopkeeper where I can spend any gold that I've made. So you're going where you want to go, but the way it starts is you start out with 5 attack cards and 5 defense cards. Straight up. That's all you start with. And then basically what happens is the only way you attack is by drawing cards and using them.
Okay.
So you have 3 action points per turn. If anyone's played Hearthstone, it's a similar idea in that you have mana to spend.
Okay.
Where it's all right, you have 3 mana. You can, I think they call it energy, which I think also Hearthstone calls it energy, but you have 3 to spend each turn. A regular attack, it takes off 5. It's 5 damage and 1 energy.
Okay.
A regular defends 5, protects you against 5 damage, takes up 1 energy. Okay. So the shtick of the game is you see your character here, like you see him like bouncing around like a full sprite, and then you see the enemy characters here, and they have little icons over their head that signify what type of action they're taking next turn. Okay. So they'll have like he plans on attacking for 8 damage, and he plans on defending, and he plans on
so it's like a strategy kind of.
But he plans on attacking and debuffing you.
Okay.
So he's only attacking for 4, not 8, but he's going to give you a debuff too. So you add up the damage, and you say, all right, I have 3 defense cards. They're going to hit me for 12. I can block all the damage and put out 3 defense cards, or I can eat the 2 damage, put out 2 defense cards, and attack one of them for 5. So it's a lot of that.
That's really cool.
But every time you win a battle, you gain a new card in your deck, and it's randomly 3 cards to choose from at the end of each battle.
Okay.
And they have different rarities and stuff. Like there's gold, green, like all the different rarity tiers. And the depth of the deck building itself is actually really good.
Okay.
And it's super rewarding because it is a roguelike. It's different each time. So not only, I mentioned the different nodes on the track, like as you're climbing the spire, but there's a main boss at the end of each. And it's cycled through a number of different bosses. Like it's not always the same boss at the end of Act 1. So it's like, because each time you die, it's permadeath.
But every time you die, you gotta start from the beginning. That's okay. That's what I was gonna ask next.
And what you're gaining is you get every time you die, you get points that feed into this meter. And when the meter fills up, it's like, oh, here are some unlocks. The first one was like you unlocked a new hero character.
Yeah.
So now this guy has a totally different deck, and you can do a run as that guy instead of this guy, and build out the deck differently. You get different cards each time. But then the next round of unlocks I got for that first hero character was I got like, hey, here's 5 new cards that could possibly be out there in the wild for this deck, and here's 3 different relics, which relics are like, they give you like passive bonuses.
Okay.
So it's like you can get a relic that's like every time you get to a bonfire, you gain 5 health per card in your deck or something. Like it's a lot of different roguelike systems.
Yeah.
And it's so well done, though.
What system is it on? What have you been playing on?
It's only on PC right now.
That's it, okay.
Yeah, but it's super. You can run on anything. I'm playing on this MacBook right now, and it's running totally fine because it's, it's just a simple little game. But what I was getting at before is there was, at the end of each act is a boss.
Yeah.
And it's a randomized boss. So I don't know if there's 3, 4, 5, 6 different ones that it could be possibly.
Right.
But you get there, and they all have totally unique abilities, and all the enemies throughout too. It'll just show the enemy icon on the node. It doesn't tell you what kind of enemy it's going to be. So you might go into that area and it's like, oh, it's just one, decently hard enemy. Or you might get in there and it's 3 tough guys. Like you don't know. But remember I said there are treasure icons, there are enemy icons, merchant icon, bonfire, and then there's a question mark one. And the question mark one is super FTL like. And I don't know if you ever played.
No, never. No.
What those games are based off of, FTL and this, obviously the guys that made this game really like FTL, clear as day. But the question marks, what happens at those nodes is it could be a number of things, but usually it's a like scripted, like choice-based thing. So it'd be like you enter the room and the walls, there are 3 heads pop out of the walls. Like one says, "Give me 5 health and I'll give you an item." One says, "Give me a card from your deck and I'll give you an item." And the other says, lose 1 and 2 health permanently and I'll give you an item. So you make a choice.
Okay.
And they give you an item. Another time you might go and it'll be like, there's a homeless guy asking for 75 gold. You give it to him.
Okay.
And if you do, maybe he does something terrible to you that you didn't expect, or maybe he gives you a really good item.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that kind of stuff.
But the whole point is that then you got to get to the top of the spire.
Yeah, and I've never even gotten close. I've gotten to Act 3, and I don't know how many there are. Maybe there's 4 or 5. Maybe there's 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the beginning of Act 3 a couple of times.
But then when you die from the beginning, like you said, it's roguelike where you just got to...
Yeah, you don't...
Those games are frustrating, but like super cool because you get like super nuanced.
I love
like
those kind of games.
Yeah.
But another cool thing is whenever you beat the boss of Act 1, next time you die, there's this guy I think he's like... He's called the god of something. He's like this giant whale. And he comes in at the beginning of your game before you start. And he's like, you made it past the boss of Act 1. Tell me what you want. And he gives you 4 random options. One might be like, lose all your gold right now, but gain 15 HP per
Okay.
And then one might just say, gain a random card. No negatives. So it's like you're doing risk reward pretty much.
Right.
And you have 4 different options each time. So I've gotten to the point where I can consistently beat the boss of Act 1. So I'm constantly getting those bonuses, which are really good to start with. But yeah, this game's just really, really well made.
That's awesome.
I like it a lot, and it's in early access, so they're still adding stuff. They're still doing stuff.
Yeah. When does it get released? You know?
No, they haven't said.
Okay.
But, you know, if this where it is now is any indication of where it's going to be, this is an excellent game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the thing that's cool is it's surprising all the time. Like those question marks, like I'm still hitting new events.
Yeah.
But sometimes at those question marks, it's not an event. It could just be a really hard enemy.
Right. Okay.
Like it's random. The question marks are random, but a lot of times it's an event. But some of the events are crazy. It's like there's a golden idol, like Indiana Jones style. It's like, do you take the idol? And you don't know what's going to happen to you, but you're like, yo, I want that idol. It looks important.
But it always changes. So like, let's just say you take that idol one time, and like in Indiana Jones, the big rock comes and like crushes you. The next time that may not happen.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know the permutations on the specific. Like,
okay.
Because the roguelike element of it is you're getting different events.
Right. Okay.
You know, so the event might play out the same each time. I'm not sure how their algorithms work with that. But what I do know is you're getting different events. So like I remember one time I never got that golden idol event, but in like Act 2 or Act 3 I got this event that was like there's a goddess sitting on a throne, and then my option was great. I'd leave her, or there was a grayed out option that said requires golden idol.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
Okay.
Where's the golden idol?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you know that it was, or I think I could have sold the golden idol at the merchant or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff you can do where I'm sure there are different things that can come of it, but I just don't know if each time it changes. Or
Games like that are so cool though, and like they're super frustrating, but at the same time they really are like.
I never get frustrated by them. I get that they're frustrating, but like for me, I'm gaining progress. I'm gaining knowledge of what I should be doing.
Yeah, well, that's why Spelunky and like Rogue Legacy, those games are just so like.
It's my jam.
Yeah,
dude. I love those.
Yeah,
games. But this is a really good one, and I'm telling you, the deck building aspect of it is deep enough and good enough that it's interesting each time. Like there's different deck builds specifically. Like you know, there's a certain build where like you can get a power that you damage yourself but do a bunch of enemy to other people, or do a bunch of damage to other enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And also you can get other cards that are like every time you take damage, like from a self-inflicted wound, gain 5 strength or something.
Okay.
You know, so it's like there are cards that like play off each other a lot.
Yeah.
So you like want to build strategically each time, and I'm telling you,
that's so cool.
It's a very cool game. I really, really recommend it. Slay the Spire on Steam, early access.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds really interesting.
And if they can just keep adding more cards, like
that, like spikes my interest. I may want to check that out.
Yeah, it's so good. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know how good this game could get. It's awesome.
That might be a game. I gotta check that out.
It's like $15 or $16 on Steam right now.
Not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's well worth it.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. What else have you been playing, Dan?
So, you know, it's actually really, really cool what I did on Sunday. There's this place called the Cradle of Aviation, and it's, what is it? It's an airplane museum. You know, they talk about everything from, you know, the Wright brothers to Charles Lindbergh, and then, you know, you got like astronauts and stuff like that. And it's just a big space museum, but they were having this like expo there. It's like a video game expo, like history video games from like 1978, whatever, to like 1999. And it was so cool. Like, it was really, really awesome. Like, you get there, there's like a whole hallway, and it starts, you know, you have the Atari. They had freaking E.T. there, which is like the game that destroyed the video game industry. They had, I can say, I've played E.T., and it was not...
Did you do this?
Yeah, just... But, they had, you know, everything from, you know, Galaga and, you know, and, you know, Centipede.
I like that. I never heard it pronounced like that.
Oh, how do people pronounce it?
Galaga?
You say potato, I say potato.
I think you're the one that said potato.
Anyway, you know, they had Q*bert, and then they had this. And then they had the Nintendo section, which was so cool. They had a bunch of NES, you know, cartridges lined up. You could play Metroid, Mega Man, Castlevania, Super Mario Brothers 3, Punch-Out.
Games.
All these games you could play. You know, then in the Super Nintendos, you know, you could play, you know, Mario Kart. You could play Super Mario World.
Was it mostly first-party stuff, or was it a lot of?
It was mostly first party stuff. They had them, but
Did they have like Final Fantasies and like other stuff?
They did. They had Final Fantasy VII. They had the PlayStation section. They had a Sega section. They had a lot of fighting game sections. They had they had Tekken 2, and my girlfriend kicked my ass at Tekken 2, like really, really, really hardcore. And getting all that aggression out. And but what was so cool is because I know you're a big fan, they had Metal Gear Solid, the original for the PlayStation.
You gave it a whirl.
And I played like pretty much all the games that were there. It was just cool to see them all in one place.
Yeah.
And I was kind of
How'd you find out about this?
It was my girlfriend. My girlfriend
Really?
was just like, she was like, hey, I have this big surprise for you.
Wow.
Like, you're gonna love it. I'm gonna hate it. And I was just like, what would you hate that I love? Oh, video games. Okay, so we went and it was so cool. And
Did she hate it?
she actually had a good time. Like I said, she enjoyed beating me at Tekken. I think that was what made it all worth it. But
What did you think of Metal Gear Solid?
well, so this was the thing. So
How much did you get to play?
I played about half an hour of it. Like we were there longer than anybody else. I think we got there like noon, and then by like 3, like everybody like was gone. So like it was just me and her, and I was just like, all right. Like after 3 hours of just like explaining every game to her and being like, oh, this is why Metroid's so cool. This is why it's such a good game. Or this is why Castlevania 4 is the best. I was like, all right, I've never played Metal Gear Solid, and my buddy Dan like loves this game. I just want like a nice half an hour. Let me just see what it's like. So I pulled up a chair in front of the cabinet, and then I played for about half an hour. I didn't play enough of it to like I feel like to even be able to form some sort of an opinion. But
there's a lot of cutscenes at the beginning, right?
Yeah, but like what's so interesting is like I could already tell, and maybe this is me like already just knowing how Hideo Kojima is already, it's like kind of like an iconoclast already, but like already like between the dialogue and like the way that it's done, like already things that have been like talked about or said, I'm just like, that's weird seeing that in a video game. Like that's like the one point where like he ate cigarettes or something like that, and like then the girl's like to the doctor, hey, you can give me an exam. I'm just like, I was like, wow, you wouldn't like imagine this in a game. I can definitely
I mean that's their whole shtick is like, especially when that game came out, there was no other game like it.
Right,
It was super unique.
The controls are a little like
oh, they're not good. They're not good. But I think once you get used to it, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's definitely playable, a lot more playable than some of those older games.
Yeah.
3D games, but you're really there for the story.
Yeah. But like I said, I didn't play. Like my next goal is I'm gonna I was telling you before we started recording. I was looking on Amazon and stuff. I'm gonna try to somehow get every game and just sort of like play through them. That'd be really, really cool. Unfortunately, I don't have any on the PS Now, which would have been awesome. But
PS Now. PS Now, really cool service, really cool idea. They gotta get better with how bad like the streaming is.
It's not good.
Like, that shouldn't happen to you. I don't know what kind of like setup you have at home, what kind of router or anything, but
I don't know what kind of router I have at my home.
I just don't know why that would happen.
Yeah.
But it's what it is.
Yeah, but it's very cool. I would definitely recommend. I'd go again and just play some more Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that sounds great.
They had Resident Evil there, they had Silent Hill. It was very, very.
That sounds really cool.
And most of the time it was just me, me beating my girlfriend. So the first Silent Hill. So let me tell you the story. Let me tell you, what's going on.
She just like
she was just like,
into the distance.
She's like, can I go play Cubert? And I'm just like, yeah, no problem.
Last game that I've been playing, I dipped back into Dota 2 a little bit. I know you know. I don't know if you guys know out there. I've played a just absurd amount of Dota 2 in my life, over 1,000 hours. I don't want to say the exact number, but it's over 1,000. So I know this game really, really well. I jumped back in a little bit after talking about it with a friend. Just played a couple of matches. If nobody knows what it is, it's a MOBA. Maybe you've heard League of Legends, games like that. This game shtick is it's way deeper than most MOBAs, and it's way more obtuse and hard to get into, and like hard to recommend. It's like a ridiculous game, but the ceiling of skill, like where you can get with that game, is unmatched in video games in general. So when you're talking about like multiplayer games, you start out here and it's like endless how good you can get.
Yeah.
Like there's no like, hey, this is the best way to do it, because every match is so different, Anyone that doesn't know, it's 5-on-5. It's a third person like isometric view of hero characters. It's basically like an RTS. I mean, the roots of it come from Warcraft 3 it was a mod for Warcraft 3 that they called Dota, where they literally took the hero units in Warcraft 3 and made basically a fighting game with the hero units. That's where this came from. And so it's that same angle of Warcraft 3, and you're basically, the object of the game is to destroy the other, you have 3 lanes, one in the middle, one on each side. They all have towers, so like 2 towers, 3 I think. And basically when you get through the towers, you can get to the base. And if you destroy the other team's base before they destroy your base, it's game over, you win, okay? But what happens is, it's basically like a miniature RPG every game, because you're killing enemies and leveling up and choosing which skills to level up, and you're also buying items to get your guy stronger. So it really is like the best way to describe it is like a super ramped up, fast paced RPG where each game you build your character differently. There's over 100 heroes to play. It's super fucking deep game, but I can't really recommend it to people.
And I remember the day, like, there was times where, like, that was like all you were talking about. You even like made me give it a go.
I'm telling you, that game
it was.
But the reason that I'm so passionate about that game is because it's like learning a new, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can invest so much time into it and get better and learn it more in a way that you can't do with most video games. You know what I mean? Like, to master an online game, like, you might play for 50 hours, 100 hours,
right?
And you'd be like, I'm the best at this game. It's like, this game, you're never the best.
You're never the best,
So it's like, certain type of people, you just want to learn new things and master them, and it's like I was just like obsessed with this game.
That's so cool.
So I dipped back in just to check it out because I know it's changed quite a bit.
Were they still adding stuff to it? They still
always they update like crazy.
Oh, really?
They're changing.
It's been a few years
they do
too.
Balance changes. This game came out in 2013 officially, but it was in early access for like 2 years before that. So it's been out for a long time, but. They're still doing balance changes. They're totally reworking characters still. Like, I went in and played a certain character, and it was like he had different skills than he used to. So I'm like, what? They changed the layout of the map a little bit, maybe a year ago or so. But I just basically, we were talking about it. I was like, I should jump in and play a little bit. So, still love that game. Again, really tough to recommend, but if you're the type of person that likes a game like that, it might be for you.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much wraps.
Totally cool. It's nice to hear about Dota again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while since
It's been a while for both of us. All right, Dan. So I think it's about time we're going to jump into our main topic for the day.
Okay.
We're going to talk about remakes and remasters.
All right.
And we're basically going to go through our thoughts about them. Are they good? Are they bad? Or do we not care?
Yeah.
I think it's a complicated issue because, as we'll get into, I think there are a lot of remakes and remasters that we're very excited for. But eventually I want to get into the fact of, are they actually consumer friendly?
That's fair.
Right?
That's a very good point.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, it's interesting. When we were going through 2018, we were looking at all the games.
Yeah.
It seems like, 2017, there were so many, like, unique, interesting, like, games coming out. Horizon Zero Dawn coming out of left field, Cuphead coming out of left field. A lot of like reinventions of all right, yeah, exactly. And it seems like going through the list this year, and maybe I could be wrong, but I don't know, it seemed like there was a lot more remakes and remasters like this year. I was talking to my sister about this. I was just like, it's so weird. Like, it looks like this is going to be the year of remakes and remasters. We saw,
it really does, yeah.
With Bayonetta, they're going to do that, and then the Devil May Cry HD collection, and Shadow of the Colossus, Secret of Mana. We just got like a bunch of like remakes and remasters, and my feelings are mixed on it, and we'll get into this more, I know, as we get into the discussion.
Right.
Whether that's a good thing, oh great, here's games that we could play again, but at the same time, what about new content, or
Well, the conundrum that we're faced with is, hey, Dark Souls is coming out again.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games of all time. That's getting remastered this year. So it's like, how can I not be excited for that?
Right.
Shadow of the Colossus, they're remaking with these beautiful graphics, totally redone. Like, another one of my favorite games of all time. How could I not be excited for that? So it is a tough thing. And then, we've talked in the past about Final Fantasy VII, and now we're not the hugest fans of it, but we definitely think it's a great game. They're remaking that game entirely.
Yes.
It seems like they're making it into the style of like
the new ones, the new
Final
15,
Fantasy
yeah.
games. And I think in my heart of hearts, like what I believe is a good remake and remaster versus a bad one is if you're making meaningful changes. Like, I'm much more likely to accept a remake than a remaster.
Agreed.
Because a remake is, you're doing something new with it. You know what I mean? Like, in the Shadow of the Colossus thing, it's like, they're redoing everything. It doesn't even look like the same. Like, it looks like that art style brought into a new generation.
Yeah. And hopefully the controls are just a little bit better.
Yeah, we can pray. But same thing, Final Fantasy VII. It's like that's a totally different game. It looks beautiful, like nothing like that old game. So it's like I can accept that a lot more readily than hey, here's the game you got on the last gen, and now it's here.
Well, and they've been doing that a lot too. With even they had the Uncharted collection. Oh, let's and that was good for me because I never played the Uncharted games. And I was like, great, they're all here in one package, and I can kind of
But that's why we're saying like
what market?
That's a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
But
what market are they catering to, kind of thing?
It's not even what market are they catering to. It's are they just I feel like the issue that I have with it is because the thing that they can use to justify it, which makes sense. I actually agree. Is hey, what if this person didn't have a PS3?
Yeah.
And now they have a PS4. Let's get them these great games we made.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So I say like, hey, that's a really good way to go about it. But what ends up happening is, oh man, I haven't played those games in a while. It's so convenient. It's on PS4. Let's just download it and play it. And that's a little more predatory in nature, but it's really our psychology that's doing it. Are we really blaming the video game companies?
Well, that was what's so great about the Crash Bandicoot remaster. It was like, oh my gosh, Crash Bandicoot, it's been forever.
But that was also a beautiful remake.
It was well done. That's the thing. Yeah, it was
really well
But that's
done.
the thing. That was a remaster that I was like, this is beautiful. Like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, this got me back into playing these sort of platforming games.
But let's talk about the Secret of Mana remake.
It doesn't look so good.
It doesn't look good at all.
Because
they're trying to do something in a similar vein to what Final Fantasy VII is doing. Obviously not in the same way, but in the similar idea of, hey, we're redoing this entire thing graphically. Like, what do we want to make it like? And I think it just looks terrible.
I'm not picking it up.
But isn't that a hard thing to, like, these people want to differentiate it from the old one, and then they end up pushing me away, So it's like, what is that really?
I think it's also our style. I mean, if anybody's seen the art style for the new Secret of Mana, it's very, like, chibi-like. Like, it's very, like... I don't know. In the original Secret of Mana is so like the art style is just so beautiful, and I don't.
I think
like I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I think that's a reasonable argument because I don't think there's anybody that's gonna look at this new art style and be like, wow, it's so much nicer than the old one.
But it's so funny because for example, Final Fantasy VII, you play that now, it's all very blocky, very what I mean. Oh wow, this is more high tech, if you will. Same thing with Shadow of the Colossus too. I mean, I love Shadow of the Colossus, but like just the graphics are so updated.
Yeah. Now, but here's the thing. The thing with Shadow of the Colossus in particular. Shadow of the Colossus came out in 2005 on PS2. Then they put out a remaster on PS3. Right? Now they're putting out a remake on PS4. So is there a certain point where we just say like, come on, guys?
Like, do you think they're just sort of...
But the problem is, listen to this. I had Shadow of the Colossus on PS2. I got the remaster on PS3. Yeah. Loved it. Played it again. Man, I haven't played this game in 6-7 years. What a great game. I'm going to fucking buy it again in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, So at a certain point, we're just arguing like what's wrong here because we're doing it anyway. Dark Souls, there's no shot I'm not buying that. It's like,
no, I know.
There's no shot.
But again, there is certain things about Dark Souls or Shadow of the Colossus that like, if they fix, it's like making these perfect games even more perfect. Like if there's like a better like Blighttown, like if Blighttown isn't so crappy.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I hope they do that. I can't say for sure, but I remember when Dark Souls the original came out on PC, it was a fucking mess, and then never fixed it. fans fixed it and made a patch, like a mod called DS Fix, where they literally fixed the game, made it run properly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
they didn't do that.
They never did that. FromSoft never did that. So it's like, it's hard to justify if they put this game out and it's not fixed. Like,
but you're still gonna buy it anyway. But I think that's the thing too. I mean, it's the same thing we were talking about.
But that's predatory, man. That's me. That's me. That's them getting me because I love that game.
Exactly, and I mean that's the thing that we were talking about. Kind of in a way like last week. Like, don't you think we have the agency to be like, all right, like, enough's enough. Kind of speak with our, our dollar. You know what I mean? If we don't buy, yeah.
I hear you, but
but it's the thing. Like, you're still gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm buying the Shadow of the Colossus the day that comes out. That's sick. That is so cool. That's a great game. I love that game.
Now, yeah.
You're a big fan of the Bayonetta games. I mean, I never played the Bayonetta games on the Wii, but I'm gonna pick up these games. But what if I had,
Here's the question for that specific problem of Wii U games are all gonna get ported to the Switch, and the reason they're doing that is because nobody had the fucking Wii U. Like, you and I had the Wii U. Nobody else had the Wii U. Yeah. Honestly.
We were the only... Shelby had the Wii U, too.
Had the Wii U
we're the only 3 people that had the Wii U.
No, but it sold like 13 million in its life or something, which is horrendous. Like, terrible. So, that's like half the GameCube, and the GameCube was a failure. So, I just don't... Like, for that specific issue, I understand where they're coming from, but they're just putting these games out on... Like, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Awesome game on the Wii U. They're putting it out right around the same time as Dark Souls, I believe. Putting it out on Twitch. It's like that game came out like 3 years ago or something.
Well, I'd say they just did Doom on Switch too.
That never came to a different Nintendo console.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So, but regardless, I just, again, that's the thing where like, hey, I understand Nintendo saying we want people. Nobody had the Wii U. Switch is selling gangbusters. Let's get our good games on there.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is a fine line between, like, what are we doing at this point?
Do you think, like, it's sacrificing, like, new ideas and new... I mean, do you think by putting out, okay, we're going to put out, this collection, we're going to remaster this, that's sacrificing, like, well, all these great games and these great ideas and these great stories, we're going to put those on the back burner so that...
I don't think so, because if you look at who's making these remakes or remasters, it's a lot of times not first party, who made those games. It's like there's a lot of port studios like Blue Point, and there's a couple others that are just like, we're making, this is our thing.
Yeah.
Like that's Vicarious Visions did the Crash.
Okay, yeah.
It's like these guys do this well. And yeah, I mean, if you look at what Blue Point made, like they did all the Uncharted's, they did the Shadow, like they did a bunch of different ports, like remakes, ports, remasters.
I mean, I love that Uncharted collection because that was perfect for me. I never playing an Uncharted game. I got that Christmas, and I probably played all 3 of them in like a matter of 2 days. So I just like it's perfect for me.
There is a certain point for me where it's like I just. There's something about it that kind of like skews me out, businessy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's just a little.
I mean, it's the same thing even with. I'm sorry, I feel like I keep cutting you off.
No, you weren't.
The same thing with like. We always bring up movies in this video game podcast, but like when they keep. All right, well here's another Jurassic Park movie. Okay, well here's another Star Wars movie. Here's another superhero movie. Here, you know what I mean? They're sort of like beating you over the head, and then every now and then you get like an original idea. And that kind of flies under the radar because
it doesn't have the big name.
Because it doesn't have the big name, and that kind of saturates the market where it's just like, oh, well, okay, great, I can go see, oh man, like Captain America's in another movie, that's so cool, or oh man, like there's another, Star Wars movie, or it's just like.
Yeah, and when you think about the marketplace as each person has a set amount of funds that they're willing to spend on video games. Then you can make that argument of we're oversaturating it with this kind of stuff because people want this because they know this, and then they're not buying new ideas because they're spending their money on this.
Yeah.
If you're talking about a fixed, spending money for a person, it's like then that's an interesting.
Well, that's the thing too, because I'm not rich. I work my butt off. Pay off my car or whatever, and I really got to choose what I'm going to spend $60 on. Video games aren't cheap. I really got to, if it's between this, or this, it's the worst when like 3 games I'm really interested in come out the same day.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, it was like last year. It was like Wolfenstein came out, Mario Odyssey, and there was another one. Assassin's Creed. All came out like on one day. And I was just like, what do I?
That was our inaugural day, Dan.
Was that really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, damn. But yeah, and I think like, I don't know. I support the new ideas, and I love the new ideas, and that's what I want to support, and that's what I want to try out. But then like there's like this visceral like gut. Oh no way! There's a new Mario or a new and I go with that.
The thing about it is the games that you just mentioned, like when you're talking about the new Mario, the new Zelda, it's like these franchises have been around for so long, and they're just iterating on them, but they're doing fresh ideas. So even though they're the same franchise,
that's true. It's not a remake or a remaster.
They're very fresh ideas. You know what I mean? So I lump those into the same camp as like a Pyre or you know what I mean, where you're coming out and you're saying this is our new IP. That's the idea, and Nintendo is one of the few that does that properly, in my opinion. When you get to Final Fantasy, it's like not so fresh. So fresh.
That's the thing too. I bought Final Fantasy 15 and I was extremely disappointed. Yeah.
A lot of people love that game, so I'm happy for you. If you like.
Yeah. No. Enjoy. Have fun. It's all good. But it is interesting how like, because we have talked about this before about remakes and remasters, and it's just like part of us is like, oh my goodness, like we both were super excited for the Shadow of the Colossus. It's like that's so cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
hey, it's when it gets out of control is when it's literally just a couple of years old and it's on, and it's like this is the definitive version, and like we saw a lot of that at the launch of the PS4.
Yeah.
From like PS3 games where it's like, look at this.
Well, even with Metal Gear Solid 5, that game just came out 2 years ago. Yeah. And when I was looking up, where I can get Metal Gear games, there's like 7 different versions.
Yeah. There's
like, oh, you can get this version, but if you want the real version, you can spend $60 and you can get this and that, and it's just
But again, I will say, the remasters that are coming out this year, like System Shock is getting remade.
Well, that's cool too, but. I guess.
But that's why these things keep coming out, is because we have these reactions. And maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not bad. Like it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just there are some times when I see it, and I'm like, do we need that?
Yeah.
But there are legitimate arguments to be made. Dark Souls cannot be played unless you have a PS3 and an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Can't.
Yeah.
So it's. Well, on a PC, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if you only have current gen consoles, you can't play it.
Yeah.
So I understand that idea.
But do you think it's also like a little bit of corporate greed? Like, we can just keep pushing it out because we know Dan and Dan are going to buy it because they talk about it on their podcast.
Yeah, but that's no corporate entity is watching.
Oh, come on, man! They're listening.
No, it is that, and it is hugely that. And I can't tell you the number of times that I've said out loud to other people, God, I want them to release a Mass Effect trilogy for PS4. Like, I want that so bad.
Well, they just did that for Xbox 360 not too long ago. Didn't they?
For 360, yeah. I'm talking about for current gen. Like, I want.
You want on PS4?
Yeah.
So, all right, but that's the thing. So,
and I'm not arguing that I would have, that I'm the best consumer here. I'm just arguing as a whole, should we start doing something about this, or is it just not so bad? Are we calling it a little benign?
Well, what's so funny is I don't know. We're just super complex individuals, and we have these passions and no, this is right and this is wrong. Oh, but I'm gonna buy this anyway, But that's just.
But I don't even know that, this isn't, I'm not ranking this as, a dastardly thing across the board.
Right, yeah.
It's I'm trying to work that out right now. I'm not saying necessarily that this is the worst thing ever. But when I'm talking about, I was talking to Spencer on the car ride home yesterday. I'm like, he was talking about Ocarina of Time. And I'm like, man, if I could give you that on a modern console, since you don't have an N64, that'd be fucking awesome. Because he wants to play it again. But it's You don't have a Nintendo 64 to play it on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, am I going to tell you to go buy an N64 and buy a fucking cartridge of that? That's going to cost
Well, I like how
$100?
Nintendo handles it. Even on the Wii U, they have like the Nintendo eShop, and for $10 you can play these great games.
Where's that on the Switch?
Not on the Switch.
Why? Switch has been out for almost a year. They don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
That is a good system. But it's another example of how many fucking times am I going to buy Super Metroid? Am I going to buy it on the Super Nintendo? Am I going to buy it on the Wii? On the Wii U? When it comes to the Switch?
And the answer is yes.
Like,
the answer is yes every time.
But it's like, we're fools then. Like, what are we doing? We have these cartridges. That's the shit that I'm talking about. Like, I'm glad they do it because it's $5. Like, I'm glad they're doing that.
Right.
And not releasing it on Switch as like a cartridge.
Yeah.
Hey, here's Metroid, Metroid 2, and Super Metroid, $40.
I would totally buy that, though.
People would buy it. So I'm glad they're doing the $5, hey, get it.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it on the Switch yet, and I'm all upset.
I don't know. Because I would buy it, though, if it was on the Switch, too.
I know, Dan. That's the issue, man. That's what I'm talking about.
But, like...
We're sitting in their pockets.
Yeah.
But, it's what it is.
I feel like part of it's just like, oh, I support this game, so I'm going to support it through and through. That's how I look at it.
But the other aspect of it is that
maybe that's a little too pedestalish.
These ideas of remastering games, and the way Nintendo puts it forward, same exact game, you can buy the same exact game that was on Super Nintendo on the Wii U. Like, that idea is such a good thing for, like, preservation. Like, it's a huge positive. Like, I'm glad they're doing that stuff because, like, we're going to run out of cartridges.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to all break down and die, and we're not going to be able to play it.
I don't know think about Super Mario World breaking down.
But it might happen, Dan. But what I'm saying is, if you have this digital copy of this game going through the generations...
But that's the problem. You got to keep buying it. You got to keep rebuying and rebuying and rebuying. Is that just... I mean, I'm the same way with music.
It's fucked up. Why are we doing that? Like, why can't they just be like, hey, we see that you bought this game already.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. But no, I do the same thing with freaking, records and stuff like that. Oh, I used to have it on, cassette, believe it or not. Oh, I got yeah, somehow I started on cassette. Oh, you got cassette. Oh, now CD. Oh, vinyl. Okay, let me get it on vinyl because they just released this on vinyl.
Dan, you were like...
I have like 8 copies of London Calling, and I'm just like, there's no reason for that. But I do it anyway, because part of me is like, no,
love this thing.
I support this in every medium, and I got to do this, and I don't think twice about it.
I get it. Trust me, I get it.
I'll buy like 8 copies of like Super Mario World anytime I see it, because I don't care, because I'm just like, this is my baby. Yeah. And that's probably foolish of me.
It is, but
I spent a lot of money on the same thing.
It's not like it's a you only problem. You know what I mean? Like, but
yeah, I spent a lot of money on many times I spent a lot of money on the same things.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the nature of the beast,
they remastered the Beatles albums like all the time. It's like, oh, great, this is in mono now. Let me check this one out. It's just like,
dude, when it was in stereo, that was no good though.
I know, but I still bought it. Like, I still bought it. That's the problem. I'm still buying. It's still, I want to hold your hand and like listen to it on 7 different like CDs. It's the same thing.
No, I know, man. I get it, and that's that's exactly.
But I own them all.
Here. You know what I mean? That's exactly what we're talking about here. These are things we love. We're gonna keep buying them.
No wonder I have no money.
But how easy is it for these guys to like just put it out again? They're gonna buy it.
But that's the problem, though. That's no bueno.
No bueno.
No bueno. No mas.
But guess what?
I'm gonna buy freaking Shadow of the Colossus and Final Fantasy VII, and
I'm gonna buy Dark Souls.
Maybe I'll buy Dark. Maybe I'll finally beat Dark Souls.
If they fix some shit in that game,
I never beat Dark Souls.
Dude, there was literally... I want to talk about Dark Souls real quick because I love Dark Souls and I love talking about it. No, but I want to talk about it because on the PC, when that came out, before, like without DS Fix, there was a bug where the frame rate... When you had like the frame rate... I think it was when the frame rate was at 60, the weapons degraded at double time because the frame rate was doubled.
That's terrible.
It's terrible.
That's absolutely horrible.
Like, all of a sudden you're looking and you're like, what the... Like, my sword's broken. It shouldn't be broken. Like, not even a little bit. And it's fucking broken.
That's terrible.
And then they would have stuff where, like, you could clip through certain things at 60 frames because the game is built at 30. And then they just put in a 60 frame patch for it. Like, it was terrible. So if they, like, get this shit down and Dark Souls is going to run at 60... and look nicer and not have like not dip down into the 10s in Blighttown, you know? Like if we can fix that,
Yeah.
like this is going to be the best way to play this game.
That'd be awesome.
And I'm going to push it on every single person with a PS4 because it's a goddamn game.
But also, if you can make the Shadow of the Colossus controls work.
Yeah, we're so close to that. We're so close to that date that I'm just like crossing my fingers, man. I'm like, please.
I just hope that, like,
They
yeah.
say there's new controls. What does that mean?
Well, I told you, I'm sure I said on the show too, I was replaying it, and like, I love that game. It doesn't detract from how much I love that game, but just like, man, this is like terrible to control.
It's terrible. How many times have you wound up inside one of those creatures' butts and you can't get out?
You're just hanging there.
It's terrible. The controls are actually bad in that game, but
if they make it that, see, I'm okay with like a remaster remake like that. We're like, all right, make it better,
make it the best version of the game.
make it better.
Yeah,
And I have high hopes for Shadow of the Colossus. And 587 looks great too.
I'm not playing that.
You're not playing that?
What am I gonna play that for? I hate those new games. They play like that. I'm not gonna play that.
But it's cool. It's Final Fantasy. I don't mind. I know
I like it. Don't. I'm not a hater.
the first 10 hours of Final Fantasy 7 are fantastic. That
I
whole
actually like that whole game. I just think it's.
it losses for me when it got to that angsty. Oh, he made it up.
But it.
It was all in his mind.
But it put it.
What?
The reason I shit on that game is because it sent Final Fantasy in a bad place.
Yeah.
It started the downward spiral.
Would you say
that leads us to
spiky hair and zippers?
Yeah, zippers and big belt buckles.
Yeah.
That's why we have 15. It's because everyone's obsessed with 7.
Yeah.
And I don't like 15.
No, 15 wasn't.
And I don't like
good.
those kind of fucking
No.
Final Fantasy games. But you know what? We get Final Fantasy style games, old school Final Fantasy style games in other genres, not other genres, by other creators.
I know, but Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, nobody can beat it. But look up the trailer for Project Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
That looks like fucking Final Fantasy.
Like
6,
an old
man.
school, yeah.
So good, but we'll see. And that fucking, what was that game for 3DS? Oh, it has that stupid ass name. Let me look it up. It's it was a Final Fantasy style game, but it was like a new IP. Nintendo turn-based
I'm not sure.
RPG 3DS. Let's find it.
I mean, those games are, I definitely, I don't know. I don't mind Final Fantasy VII.
Bravely
Those
Default. That's what
yeah. Oh my! Wait a second. My sister freaking loves that.
Bravely Default. What a terrible name. That's,
But wait a
that's
second.
almost as bad as Octopath Traveler.
Isn't that like anime? Isn't that anime?
I mean,
Bravely Default or
I don't know if it's an anime.
or manga.
Might be. I like how you say manga. A manga. No, but hey, listen. What I was
What did
saying
I say
is
before?
Galaga.
Galaga.
Bravely Default. Bravely Default is made by Square, I believe.
And Square also did freaking Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Bravely Default is super in the style of those old Final Fantasy games. So like they're trying to like do that, but they know that people love these new Final Fantasy games too, so they're trying to do that as well. I like the idea behind Final Fantasy VII. It's not a game for me. I like the idea of saying, hey, this is a beloved game. We're going to redo it and totally change the game.
Mm-hmm.
Totally change the game style. It's that story told in a different style.
That's cool too, especially when like if you have that nostalgia where it's just like, oh, I remember that happening, or like, oh, I remember this part. Like, even just seeing like a bit of the trailer, like the first 10 minutes, where you jump off the train and you're in the square and you see that like in a different like angle. Yeah, it's like taking a different vantage point.
It's super cool. I like the idea of it. I just know that that game is not. Is it
even coming out this year? Is that for sure?
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be like
that
years.
Game will not come out this year.
Yeah.
Zero chance. Did you see Anthem was already pushed back?
Yeah.
Remember?
That was expected.
Somehow everyone thought it was definitely coming out this year.
Yeah, no, the game looks too intense for
our little brain.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on that game. All right, I think that's gonna do it for us today, Dan.
So what I think we should do is
in closing, we're gonna buy all these, even though it may not be the best thing for the industry to keep buying them. We're gonna buy them.
I think in a few years' time we should remaster these episodes and remake them. I think like remake them, just wear different clothes, and I think that'd be really, really cool.
Get better haircuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll grow out a beard or something.
Perfect. I'll shave the beard.
Dude, let's go crazy. Get tattoos.
Well, no tattoos.
Yeah, just the tattoos.
Face tattoos?
Face tattoos, just like Mike Tyson. That'd be awesome.
He's my role model.
That'd be awesome.
All right, with that, guys, Shout out to Mike Tyson. Shout out to Shelby. We love you both equally. And that's gonna do it for
Yes,
us
we love
today.
Shelby just as much as Mike Tyson.
Peace. What's up, guys? It's Dan from Circle Back. I'm just here to let you know you can find everything that we do at circlebackgaming.com. If you just want the podcast, we're on iTunes. If you just want the video, we're on YouTube. So catch us either place. Thanks.